is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel Edmund Remie Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. Around here, we put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. Stay tuned. This is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel Edmund Remie Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. Around here, we put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. Stay tuned. This is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel Edmund Remie Gray on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Join the Colonel every Sunday and Wednesday for poignant socio-political discussions shaping our Liberian homeland. Around here, we put the motherland over any celebrity, politician, or superstar. Stay tuned. This is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel. This is the Social Media Live podcast show of Colonel.
And of course, this is Colonel Gray. Good evening, good morning. In case you just joined me, I have been trying to come on because I've got some national security concerns, and as usual, I will try to tweak my platform a little bit. But good evening, because matter of fact, good morning, because it's almost midnight my time, and I'd like to welcome you to this test broadcast. Today, one of our national security agencies in Liberia offered a press conference. But before I go into this broadcast, let me see if I can share this information for others to join me. And in case you are wondering what's happening here, it's nothing much. I just need to begin, broadcasting quite frequently because it's been a while. Okay, and so I have decided to come tonight to see where I can start. Begin, broadcasting quite frequently because it's been a while. Okay, and so I have decided to come tonight to see where I can start. bear me a minute. Let me see if I can find a song here, interlude of music to entertain you. Matter of fact, let's go to the Rose Garden, normally where I have all those good songs. This is one of our own Liberian brother music that he made.
To our land, let us give it hand to the man. Could be realized in our hearts, 'cause all the fragrance of unity and the sounds of love ring throughout the land. Sweet Liberian, come and save your sweet home. I am begging you, can't you see your home you love? Can't you see the flow and the doors are falling down? Sweet Liberian, this is our only home. Unity rings throughout the land. Every man sing a tuneful song. Spirit of unity swell through every heart. Take the wheels of our land to a higher ground. Sweet Liberian, come and save your sweet home. I am begging you, can't you see your home you love? Can't you see the flow and the doors are falling down? Sweet Liberian, this is our only home. Then we would like the way we used to do, dancing down water side, dancing down the red lights. We be dancing all around. Then we would like the way we used to do, dancing down water side, dancing down the red light. We be dancing all around. Sweet Liberian, come and save your sweet home. I am begging you, can't you see your home you love? Can't you see the flow and the doors are falling down? Sweet Liberian, this is our only home. Sweet Liberian, come and save your sweet home. I am begging you, can't you see your home you love? Can't you see the flow and the doors are falling down? Sweet Liberian, this is our only home. Sweet Liberian, come and save your sweet home. I am begging you, can't you see your home you love? Can't you see the flow and the doors are falling down? Sweet Liberians, this is our only home. Sweet Liberian, come and save your sweet home. I am begging you, can't you see your home you love? Can't you see the flow and the doors are falling down? Sweet Liberian, this is our only home. Liberians, save your sweet home. Begging you, home reach and love. See the floors, the doors are falling down. This is our only home.
And of course, I can't get tired or weird listening to Michael Gray. And Michael happens to be a family member. Matter of fact, he is the original director for Congressman Donald Payne of the state of New Jersey. He's one of two representatives in the House of United States Congress. And Michael happens to be his regional director. So, and Councilman Payne is one of our backbones in terms of assisting Liberian interest in the United States Congress. Thanks for joining me. Good evening, good morning, if you depending on where you're at. But this is the Colonel, and today I listened to the police spokesperson, and that individual actually was trying to address a number of national security concerns, among which is a letter that was distributed on the internet by the chairperson of the Congress Coalition for Democratic Change, in the person of Malba Molu. Molu had gone to work and expressed his own concern, and one would think that since this individual is in fact a member of the ruling establishment, the party, so to speak, this guy would have, communicated his concerns internally. But again, we are talking about a CDC-led government that is replete with irresponsibilities. And one of our coalition leaders could not have placed it much somberly, much better, when he said the opposition is much more mature than or responsible than the ruling establishment. And this is just one of many things that this organization, CDC, has done. But one of among others, the issues that have made the international headlines recently was actually the manhandling of 102. 102 happens to be in national security, in the police. I think there's 100, which happens to be the commissioner or the head of the institution. And then there's 101, I want to believe, which happens to be deputy for administration. By chain of command, the organizational chart, 101 is actually up the ladder than 102. 102 happens to be operations. But either way, some organization, depending on the structure of the organization, but I think 101 or administration is normally above operations. So 102 happens to be one of three hierarchical members of the Liberian National Police, and this is the guy the CDC manhandled. Now, one wonders if you can handle the number 3 person in the police, how much more the common man? So this is how far we've gone. The Republic of Liberia right now has crossed the road to the other side of mayhem, uncivility, indiscipline, chaos, mayhem. You can give it any kind of name you want to, but that is the order of the day. So the police spokesperson had gone to address a conference, and I was hoping that he would have even told the world that he will serve copy of the letter that was distributed on the internet. And matter of fact, according to him, someone brought it to their attention that there was this letter that had been placed by a member of the regime on the internet. And so that tells me that social media is the medium of communication, or the media of communication right now, because even nationally, those who are supposed to be interacting with each other, they come on social media, because this is where remember when this regime came to power, they said, Oh, how many people listen to social media? Welcome to our world. Now they've joined us. Even internal communication involving national security concerns, you understand, are distributed on the internet. But the reason I'm here today was there are so many concerns raised by the police spokesperson. And, gone are the days when we used to have national security personnel or personalities that understood the problem, that even communicated in a somberly fashion. In other words, they knew the issue so much, they understand the profession so much that the jargons people use, you would tell that we're dealing with amateurs. So this guy addressed the press, and he gave excuses as to why Molu and Akarius Gray, he gave reasons why they were not arrested. Rather, he classified them in an American term, and that terminology or that phrase is jealously used by United States Justice Department, persons or person of interest. But he missed it. That's a euphemism for a suspect. According to him, he said a person of interest is not a suspect. I'll let you listen to it, but it's a euphemism. In other words, it's akin to, it means one and the same as a suspect, but there are material witnesses in a case, and they're suspect. He tried to play around the issue as to why Malba Molu and Akarius Gray, even though they were present physically when this police officer was manhandled, he was providing justification why those two were not arrested, as opposed to Mr. Yaker Coliber, who was arrested based on an allegation. According to him, someone was in coma. When they came through, the first thing they said, it was the Yaker Coliber, District 10, I believe, representative who gave the order for this individual, not the police officer, but another individual. It's a separate incident. And this guy was given order by Honorable Yeke for his guards, people who are, providing VIP protection for Yaker Coliber. According to this guy who was manhandled, he alleged, and based on that allegation, the police surrounded the honorable man's house, took him into custody. Journalists wanted to know why similar carriage of justice was not meted against the two, Malba Molu and Akarius Gray. You could see the guy struggling. He was all nervous because these are fine lines. Now, one of their own was manhandled, and then the letter that Molu circulated on the internet also directly attacked the commissioner of police. Among others, he referred to his statement as lies. But I'm going to play the clip. After we're done watching the clip, I'll ask you to join me so we can analyze the clip. But the gentleman actually was, he was extremely nervous. And I like to say Liberia is down already. It's just a matter of in this kind of situation, matter of fact, only today I learned that the head of the Joint Security Operation is the Commissioner of Police, the same gentleman who has been compromised. I say Sudu was long compromised before he even took up his office, because he's closer to the president. Definitely, he's going to be doing things as his henchman, as opposed to actually practicing law enforcement as he's supposed to be, because he's too friendly with this man. So for him, this is an opportunity to serve the president at will. Now, there are certain positions, the Minister of Justice, police commissioners, these people work for the good and benefit of society, the greater good, if you will. When you begin to do your job based on the president because he provided you the opportunity to serve, I would say those kinds of positions, if you have integrity, don't take them, because definitely you will not be able to operate to show your professionalism. And this man, Patrick Sudu, is in a tight spot. And so Molu and other party establishments are beginning to come on him now, because apparently he has crossed the line, because all of them are scared. Things are taking shape. And when you begin to point finger at certain people, there is the international community that is looking at documenting events in Liberia. So they used to act a fool. And now he's talking about he being a godly man. Molu was saying that he's a godly man according to the letter. I'll look for it and placard it also. But he's now beginning to associate himself as this individual who is so godly, and he would never, manhandle a police officer, let alone give order for a police officer to be manhandled. So you see, they're beginning to exonerate themselves out of this kinds of action. So the government is going down fast. There was something I read where I think Washington was preparing sanction against regime heads, but we'll look into that later. Let me look for this gentleman's video, the National Police guy.
So at this time, we've called you to brief you on some progress we've made in the fight against crime and abuse, and some sensitive police updates. We'll first begin by updating you on the investigation of the alleged assault on our Deputy Inspector General for Operation, Honorable Marvin Sakor. The Liberia National Police attention has been drawn to a Facebook statement posted by the chairman of the Coalition for Democratic Change, Honorable Moba Molu, on August 22, 2019, claiming that the Police Inspector General, Honorable Patrick Tosudu, lied under oath on his person when he, Honorable Sudu, appeared before members of the House of Senate yesterday. Chairman Moru, in his Facebook post, claimed that RG Sudu did not issue him any communication as stated before members of the Senate in the ongoing investigation into the alleged assault of LP's Deputy Inspector General for Operation Honorable Marvin Sakor at the headquarters of the Coalition for Democratic Change, the CDC. distinguished members of the press, we would like to use this medium to inform Chairman Molu that the LNP stands by every statement it made yesterday before members of the Senate under oath, especially concerning the invitation of Chairman Molu and Honorable Moses Gray, Representative District Number 8 and Chairman of the Coalition for Democratic Change, to assist with the investigation that is ongoing. We also would like to clarify that at no point in time did Inspector General Sulu indicate that Chairman Molu and Honorable Gray are suspects in this investigation, while IG Sulu spoke to members of the Senate as insinuated in Chairman Molu's Facebook response. We inform members of the Senate that an ongoing investigation into the alleged assault on our Deputy Inspector General for Operation Honorable Sakor is ongoing, and that the LNP have made contact, or you may say contacts, with Chairman Molu and Honorable Gray to assist the investigation, since in fact the incident occurred right in their presence. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, it is only obvious for us to invite Chairman Molu and Honorable Gray to hear from them on what transpired at the CDC headquarters as it relates to the alleged assault on our Deputy Inspector General for Operation Honorable Sakor, since in fact they were on the scene of the incident, which is aimed at ensuring that the perpetrators of these acts against our Inspector General, Deputy Inspector General for Operation, is not swept under the carpet, and that those who perpetrated the act are made to face the full weight of the law. Hence, the LNP is using this medium to request the appearance of Chairman Molu and Honorable Moses Gray at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police not later than 12 noon on Monday. Let's also provide you our position on the upsurge of violence which is gradually creeping in the fabric of our society. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, those of you following us on social media, the LNP is deeply concerned about the high wave of violence, especially electoral violence, that has engulfed our country of late. These violent situations continue to undermine the revenue generation capacity of the country vis-a-vis the economy, hindering free movement of our citizens and destruction of properties of peaceful citizens. As of today's date, and I must repeat, as of today's date, the LNP informs the public that anyone or group of citizens or individuals that will engage themselves into any act of violence, such individual or individuals will be dealt with in line with the laws of the Republic of Liberia. Citizens are urged to comport themselves in the best possible manner, peacefully, in handling grievances, instead of using violence as a means to seeking redress to their grievances. We must understand that upholding of the peace and stability of our country is not only the responsibility of the police or the joint security, but it is the responsibilities of all Liberians. Those who want to create situations that will make Liberia ungovernable will be dealt with robustly in line with the rule of law. You can rest assured that this joint security, under the leadership of Honorable Patrick Sudu, will do all in its power to jealously and meticulously protect the peace and stability of the state. Let's also update you on the investigation that is currently ongoing in District number 15 as it relates to the electoral violence that recently occurred. The Liberia National Police has arrested 3 suspects in connection to the electoral violence in District 15, Montserrat County. Those arrested include Romeo Nayonko, 26 years old, Prince Kali, 18 years old, and Joseph Bropley, 20 years old. These suspects were arrested based on the cooperation of some residents of District 15 who are assisting the Liberia National Police with information while this investigation is continuing. The LNP investigators were also successful in retrieving the laptop of candidate Telia Yuri, which was stolen from a vehicle during the violence. These suspects are currently detained at the headquarters of the Liberia National Police and will be subsequently forwarded to the court for prosecution. Meanwhile, the Liberia National Police urges supporters of political parties to desist from violence, as we will not hesitate to arrest and forward to court any supporter engaged in electoral violence. Political leaders are also urged to exercise control over their supporters and desist from making inflammatory statements that are tantamount to undermine the peace and stability of our dear country. With that, ladies and gentlemen of the press and those of you following us on social media, let us also provide you information to a fake Facebook account or a fake Facebook post that was published yesterday accusing the Liberian government, headed by His Excellency President George Manewia, and the Liberian National Police of killing a Liberian citizen, which we view as disingenuous and an attempt to plunge this country into a chaotic situation. The Liberian National Police is dismayed over continuous posting of unsubstantiated information on social media by some unpatriotic individuals, thus undermining its image and the image of the government. Yesterday, a social media poster identified as William Barakia Prince posted an unsubstantiated information claiming that the George Weah-led government had killed another citizen who was critical of the government. The poster claimed that one Harrington Brewer was murdered by the Liberia National Police. The poster also claimed that the late Harrington Brewer was a resident of the Stephen Talbot Estate, house number GB38. the LNP categorically condemns such unpatriotic action and unsubstantiated Facebook posting of Williams Barakiel prints, and views such action as the evil work of some individual to cause chaos and plunge this country to its ugly past. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, here is the actual story about what happened. On August 19, 2019 at 12:20 a.m., a tragic motorbike accident occurred around Dixville, that's the Dixville Bridge, Gardnersville, involving a motorcyclist identified as Lebanon Khali, 37 years old, a resident of Gardnersville, and a pedestrian identified as Harrington Brewer, 31 years old, and a resident of Dixville. Police preliminary investigation revealed that on August 19, 2019 at 12:20 a.m., victim Brewer was walking along the Dixville Bridge when the operator of a black Bajaj motorbike with plate LB 3031 collided with the victim, leaving with severe injury. The victim was rushed to a nearby medical facility known as Zobo Clinic. He was later referred to the JFK hospital, where he was pronounced dead upon arrival by medical practitioners on duty. Suspect Lebanon Khali is currently being investigated and will be subsequently charged and forwarded to the court. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we take this issue of false alarm on social media and other electronic and print platforms very seriously. Such unpatriotic action has the propensity to undermine the already fragile peace that our country currently enjoys. Citizens, especially patriotic citizens that are in the interest of moving and consolidating our peace, are urged to promote peace at all times and desist engaging themselves into actions that are inimical to the promotion of peace and stability of the country. Such actions have the proclivity to plunging our country into chaos, and that we do not want. We want peace. Every action of every citizen must be in the direction of promoting or consolidating the peace of our country, because when peace is enjoyed, everything falls in. People will go to work, the economy will boom, and everything will be on course. So citizens are urged to desist from such unpatriotic actions and let all of us work to promoting peace in our country. I want to say thank you so much to those of you who follow us on social media, who are following us on social media. Thank you so much to you members of the media that are always taking off your time to cover our this. I want to say thank you as always, and we appreciate you for coming. If there are questions, we are open to your questions.
We'll take 5 questions, please. 3 from the news, 2 from the news.
Let's listen to the line of questioning.
My name is Yasa Chiwaz from Profile and Hospital.
Yeah.
I want to know what will the police do if Chairman Obama and Akagwe fail to appear?
Thank you. Well, to answer your question, we do not want to be pessimistic about the appearance of these two distinguished sons of Liberia. We are hopeful that they will live in the ambience of the law and that they will cooperate with this investigation. Should they in the worst case scenario, should they fail to appear, we exert every legal means to have them appear.
Done?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he first. Yes.
Okay. Daniel Rogers.
And I'd like to make it very clear, their appearance here, they have not been accused as being, suspects. We have requested them to assist the police in this investigation because this incident occurred in the compound of the CDC in their presence. It's only befitting enough as head of the CDC and as leaders of the CDC to assist us with information so that we can be able to bring the perpetrator or perpetrators of such acts to book. If we do not do, it will be demotivating for the junior officers to have the Deputy Inspector General of Police for Operation attacked, and nothing is done. It's demotivating. And under the watchful eyes of Honorable Patrick Sulu, this will not happen. Those who bear the greater responsibility of the attack on the person of Unit 102 on the Marvin Sapor will be made to face the full of the law. You can trust us on that.
Yes, Mr. Carr, I have two questions. Daniel Rogers from Hard and Hard Morning Live. We all know that there is a restriction concerning the sackings. Has it been lifted? 1, 2. What is the police or the government doing to actually control social media?
Well, like you said, you rightly said, there is a restriction on, motorcyclists flying in the streets, especially at certain time of the night, beyond 10 p.m. Such restriction still remains in force. We have not descended on such restriction. However, there are violators of that restriction. And when those violators are caught, they are made to face the full weight of the law. And so that restriction still remains on. I don't know what the next question.
Okay, the next one was the issue of controlling social media. Are they planning in that direction?
Well, there are efforts underway to, present a cyber law to the legislature. That law is being worked on by the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication in conjunction with the Liberia National Police. Because we need to have a law, a cyber law, that will be able to ensure that people will not just use social media for the wrong reason, especially to post information that will plunge our country that is currently enjoying a fragile peace into chaos. All of us, like I said, all of us, if Liberia must remain peaceful, all of us must jealously protect the peace of this country. Be it opposition, be it ruling establishment, the clergy, religious leaders, or whoever they are. It is our responsibility to ensure that the peace of our country is protected. We do not want to revert to the ugly past of our country. Enough is enough. And that's why I said, under the able leadership of the Patrick Sulu as head of the Joint Security, we will do everything in the legal means to ensure that the peace and security of our country is guaranteed.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, my name is Sylvester from OKFM. Today, police asking children involved in raising the here for the investigation, getting a little same. Because the last time police walked through your head, representing the very arrest. So why is it that you cannot go and arrest those two guys and bring them for investigation?
Let me move you there, sir. There are two scenarios you need to understand. With the issue of Honorable Yaka Koloba, it was a direct allegation made by a suspect that was allegedly flogged. When the suspect came out of coma, he alleged that Honorable Koloba ordered his men to flog him.
Was this established before the arrest?
They didn't understand. I said it was a direct allegation made by, a victim, an assault victim. Did you understand that? In the case of what obtained at the CDC, we said to you that the assault of our Deputy Inspector General of Operation was done in the presence. It was not perpetrated by Honorable Gray and Honorable Modu. It was not directly perpetrated by them. Meanwhile, they were present when the incident occurred. We are asking them to assist us with information on those that carry out the act. So those are two different scenarios. You need to understand that. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is from the incident with the Deputy Police Inspector General came after the power election. And Alori has taken more than 2 weeks if I can recall. So I'm asking, why has it taken so long? They say that they have not given you the proper complaint to point out some of the suspects. And another thing I want to know, what was the means used to invite the 2 persons that you want to hear for the city investigation? Because I hear you saying earlier that Bolu was claiming that the police chief lied on oath when he said he communicated with him to appear to help investigate. He said that he didn't do a formal communication, he didn't invite him verbally. What is the news?
Well, thank you. Your first concern, why is it taking such time? Well, like I always say to the public, investigations are not specific timeline. Our Deputy Inspector General of Operation had to write his statement, and he wrote his statement. It is from his statement that we had to invite Chairman Molu and Honorable Gray to assist us, because according to his statement, and I'm talking about the Deputy Inspector General of Operation, Chairman Molu and Honorable Gray were present when he was assaulted. In all fairness, anyone would think the most expedient thing to do is to have these 2 political leaders of the CDC to come and provide us information. It is from then that we have written communication to Honorable Modu. Honorable Modu claimed in the State of Post that till now he has not received a communication. Here is what happened. Our first communication was dropped at the office of Chairman Modu. There were contentions raised as to his name misspelled. So the communication was brought back and corrected. When our dispatcher took the communication back, Chairman Modu was not in office. Meanwhile, our Deputy Inspector General for Crime Services visited Chairman Modu and placed a call to Honorable Gray, inviting them to appear at the headquarters of the Liberian National Police. It was in the interval that the IG was summoned by the House of Senate that he spoke, providing information on the update of the current investigation that's ongoing.
Yes, so what about the previous question I asked? This is distributing issue. There was something
my question is, why would someone needed for an investigation be sent letter, unlike others where you have the police go in directly? Secondly, the issue of the District 15 incident.
I love that question. Nice question.
Where we been in the media or political attention and so forth, and you, according to you, have arrested 3 persons, if my statement is right. I mean, you talk about getting laptops. How has the investigation gone so far? Because you talk about getting a laptop belonging to Kennedy Taylor Unit.
Let me answer your first question. There's a difference between, and this is This is very important for the public to understand. There's a difference between a suspect and a person of interest. In most cases, the public needs to understand this. A suspect is one who is alleged to the commission of a crime. That's a suspect. A person of interest is one who assists the police with information on the commission of a crime. So we do not go about arresting persons of interest. We invite persons of interest, since in fact they are coming to give us assist us with information. We do not arrest persons of interest. We arrest suspects, but we don't arrest persons of interest. And when you are described as a person of interest, it doesn't in any way place you in any category as a suspect. But based on the investigation, if there is a parallel link linking you to the commission of any crime, you can transcend from a person of interest to a suspect.
Okay, Lord, last question.
I hope that understanding is very clear. So to the issue of the discipline, I just informed you that when we are informed the public that we have launched an investigation into the incident that occurred in District 15, some members of the public were very pessimistic about whether something would have come out of it. To the extent somebody said, it's business as usual. Nothing will come out of it. We are committed to the public that we were bent on ensuring that those who carry out the act in the district were going to be made to face the full of the law. As I speak to you, our investigators are currently in District 15 and working. But just to update you on the progress we have made so far is to let you know that so far 3 persons have been arrested, and we give you the names of those 3 persons. And also, we told you that as a way of updating you, we have now informed you that as part of the arrest of those 3 persons, we've been able to retrieve the laptop of the entire UA that was taken away from the vehicle.
Well, in case you did not see this press conference today, I would say look for it. It's just a little bit more before it ends. And but the subtle part of it was what I was concerned about. Somebody had meticulously asked, why was Honorable Yeke Koliba arrested based on an allegation, but rather people who were present, senior officials, in fact, who have the capacity to give orders or stop mayhem or stop a crime from being committed, the brutal assault of the deputy chief of police. Those individuals, why were they not arrested, but rather when someone alleged? So you can see the disparity in the dispensation of the law. The gentleman is talking about a person of interest. The person of interest principle is not even covered under law. It's not even provided for by law. In other words, it has no real legal definition. It was recently used by American law enforcement officials. They were trying to, but like I say, it's a euphemism for suspect. But because they want to avoid certain issues from playing out in the press, so they provided this fine phrase, for referring to someone. Instead of saying a suspect in a case, they say person of interest. A person of interest or a material witness. You understand? A suspect is not only one who has been alleged. There's something called preponderance of evidence. If it leads to you, that preponderance, in other words, they put 1 and 1 and 2 together. For instance, if they see certain It could be your DNA, exculpatory, which is the DNA, that part of your body that is tangible. They could hold you as suspect. Not necessarily if someone alleges. If someone alleges, that's hearsay. That can be followed by tangible proof. So the reason Yeke was arrested was not because somebody alleged, but it was because she was Yeke. In this case, we're talking about Carius Gray and Malba Molu. Disparity. You understand? It's unfortunate that the deputy chief was manhandled in the presence of these people who could have stopped it. Okay? And so one can even infer that probably it was based on their own orders that these people manhandled the deputy chief. But we're talking about the police here. They're walking a fine line. Regime elements, you understand, especially people who have a dirge in the establishment, the government, you understand, the ones involved here. So this spokesman, you can tell that he's trying to draw a fine line, you know, as to even referring to those people as honorable and all and what have you. When a man commits a crime, that's dishonorable act. So therefore you cannot, you know, I'm not saying that they committed a crime per se, because until you can have tangible proof. But if you can arrest Yeke Koliba, who was in a studio granting interview, and outside of that studio someone was going to go disrupt, you know, just like what happened to Tilia, the police stood by. You understand? Fringe groups stoned a structure down, stoned a vehicle. You understand? The police stood by. Matter of fact, at one point there was a police officer who was recording the incident. The only reason the police talking now because one of their own was manhandled. So he's coming up. They have reached the 102. Pretty soon they'll come to 101, then 100. They're coming. It's closer now. So as a result, these people are becoming jittery. But the fact about the matter, a suspect, a person of interest is a suspect or a material witness. Material witness is the same as suspect. Material in the sense that they corroborated certain statements that came from either the 102, the chief, or bystanders. So as a result, material witness or suspect. Now, if you're a material witness and a suspect, these are one and the same. It's just that under the legal profession, one has to be followed by tangible evidence, pieces of evidence. The other, they place you in the presence of a crime. So by virtue of that, that makes you a suspect. You understand? These two individuals are people who are readily identified. They were there. So he should not be playing with words because maybe he's afraid. Matter of fact, until we can have an independent police organization in Liberia, people will continue to be victimized. It's unfortunate that there was, according to him, the individual who was displayed on social media yesterday as a gentleman who lost his life as a result of brutality. It's unfortunate that he gave us. We have to even further look into that whether it's true. But I saw some blisters that somehow look reasonable from what she was saying. I think, and if people want to pin this regime or any government agency into acts like those, they should not falsify. I don't believe it serves anybody well to just make up stories. And these kinds of situations sometimes will make, like Donald Trump would say fake news. The day the real news comes out, it would have been referred to as fake because in the past there's a trajectory of similarities where people make their own situation and come in the face of social media. And one of the things I'd seen, and someone even forwarded it to me, was the fact that Washington is beginning to talk about sanction against regime elements. But all of those kinds of things need to be substantiated firstly before you can bring them out and hold them as the truth. Because if you do that, integrity matters. You could be compromising your own integrity. But I was just saying that this police spokesperson, you could tell that had this not been one of their own, chances are even the Taylor Ura case would have been treated like the issue in District 13, where people were wounded. Till today, we have not heard anything. They were forced to come out and say, well, if the press is going to be there, they were actually about the Angel case, the girl who was allegedly murdered out of rape. That girl was also an autopsy, according to the police spokesperson, an autopsy has been completed by an independent verifier. Okay? And we have yet to hear from them regarding the autopsy, or the requisite agency could be the maybe their boss, which is the Department of Justice. But let us look at the trajectory of our national security situation in Liberia. I have yet to hear from key national security drivers, like the Chief of Staff of Army Staff. People would say the chief should not be meddling in these kinds of situations. I tell you what. If anything breaks out in Liberia in terms of mayhem, the police that we have, as I see, may not be in the capacity, may not have the capacity to even handle this kinds of situation here in this country. When law enforcement cannot handle certain situation, the National Guard comes in vis-a-vis the military. We're not asking the military to come in, but these are issues that people should be able to sit down now with the president and say, hey, this is not time to be drinking. This is not time to be having good fun at Jamaica Resort. This is not time for anything. Chief, school him what he should come out to the general public and address these kinds of fears. Because if you don't do this, the international community, the people that's supposed to come in and help in terms of investment will never go to Liberia. Will never go to Liberia. You know, if it's just just one of those things, let's go to Jamaica Resort, let's go there and get booze and booze out, and you know, you have all kinds of stuff going on there. But that's their private life. But the president of the Republic of Liberia, when these kinds of situations come up, he should be able to be schooled, or advised by the Chief of Army Staff, the Minister of Defense, and other security organizations. I understand Patrick Sudu, or the National Police, is the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, or the Joint Security, as we call it, not Joint Chief of Staff, Joint Security. This man is the head. So that's why he was called by the National Legislature to provide overview as to the electoral violence, the series of electoral incidences that have been plaguing our elections. This is the first time this man was ever called, among which his immediate deputy, or second in command, or third in command, was the center of attraction, center of focus. So if the chief of staff is not talking, the minister of defense is mute about it. The Patrick Sudu, who barely expresses himself, sorry to say this, is who controls the national security gamut. You understand? And the very first statement he provided publicly under oath, someone is alleging he lied. Problem right there. So we're gonna have to start making these agencies work. They're not only working at the pleasure of the president, but also the peace and stability of Liberia. And you have police spokespeople who come out and make categorical statement. We're going to do this. We're going to be doing this. What is the sign of authority that most of these statements is saying that they will be treated with the full weight of the law and all of these kinds of statements? Sometimes you make that from a position of strength. I don't see the National Police as someone that would be pursuing matters that involve elements that are opposed to this regime and the regime itself. I don't see the police going to take concrete action against those kinds of people. Definitely, maybe they will deal with individuals who are opposed to the government. Yes, maybe that's in that light he's making that statement. But anybody that is favorable to this regime may as well just write it off. Molu and Akarius Gray, someone asked, what if they don't show up? Now, his only answer was, let's not be pessimistic. Let us be optimistic. They are even inviting them. You did not provide such privilege to Yeke by writing him a letter to report. You surrounded the man's house, ransacked his home, you understand? Subject his family members to torture, PTSD, all kinds of stuff you did, just because someone alleged. That, for me, I think that was the stepping stone they were looking for to come after this guy. And they got it. It's like when you're looking for the smoking gun, they got it. Someone alleged. We don't even know whether the allegation was even made. But the police capitalized on that to storm Yeke's house and arrested the honorable man. They cannot do similar or suit to these two people because, of course, hey, we're talking about Molu, we're talking about Akarius Gray. When you treat people in that fashion with disparities, sometimes those kinds of actions have the tendency to even provoke situation further because it's unfair. It is unfair to arrest Honorable Yeke the way he was arrested, dragged out of his home. But then people who were present at the commission of an assault, those individuals are treated with reverence. We have a far, far distance to cover. Liberia is in dire strait. Right now, I hate to even think about what Krista Musa was saying, the Isaac Musa's daughter, who narrated all kinds of stuff that go on in that Jamaica resort. You understand? I don't even know the landmark because I have not been to Liberia to see since this government took power. But This is an eyewitness account of some of the stuff that go on there. But, hey, this regime will understand from the one that if power were to revert in the hands of this group of people, nothing good was going to be made out of it. And I feel for those who still have hope that things will just suddenly change and this president will begin to do things like what presidents do. This guy is just a guy who think, hey, my man, what time now we got it, and some of the stuff we hear sometimes where he calls agencies that collect money on a daily basis. He calls them, and I understand the Minister of Finances who, does that. He calls around individual by individual. You understand? And that's the essence of them coming to power. That they wanted to have grip on the national coffers of our republic and just have fun with it. Putting people on first class. The next day they come into Liberia and everybody taking turn to go see if they can, this kinds of stuff. It's difficult to listen to. It's difficult to listen to. We're talking about a country that is almost drowning in economic abyss. People are there talking about how they can have fun. And then you have other individuals who roam around, they pay them. She was one of the paid agents who are circulating on the internet, cussing people. Yeah, the canoe has now capsized. It's overturned. And so it's coming after them. Sorry to say that what transpired with her, for a lady, is unfortunate. But that is not, for tonight's discussion or to this morning's discussion. I just wanted to make sure I comment on the wave of things going on in Liberia and how our security agencies are not even coordinating to even bring some of these issues to book. Right now, as we speak, Ms. Celia Ure cannot enter certain portion that were quarantined to carry out her campaign, even though the national elections has given the green light for them to run their campaign, because those quarantine areas would be there will be a rerun on them. Meanwhile, this regime, their favorite, Abu Kamara, is ardently campaigning and carrying out his own rerun campaign efforts. Madam Celia Ure cannot go there because she has been threatened. People cannot be seen going in there, and the police sitting down acting, like they are so professional because one of their own was brutalized. And I can tell you, Celia should continue to pursue the national elections, that until they're allowed to go into this community without any fear of being tortured, they should not have that rerun, because our democracy will be perfected by all means. These elements who think Liberia can continue to live like how people were living in Bujumbura camp, where you con one person, you go the other side, and sometimes it's a jungle justice kind of situation. And all of these elements who are there in the diaspora running their mouth somewhere else, robbing people, bringing in all kinds of schemes to get money out of people, are the ones who say now that they are law-abiding people. And these are the ones that are in power. So they don't understand. They're talking about an 18-year-old man. Let's say when the war ended after 14 years, that 18-year-old man was what? He probably might have been 4. He doesn't know what happened in Liberia. The other one is 21. Those people don't know. Those are the ones that throw rocks at situations. They don't know. The other man is what? I think they say he's 30 something. That man was 5 or 6 when the war started in 1989. You understand? So those people actually, some of them don't even know how we got here in the first place, how we got this piece that they're now playing with. People who were present. Some of us who took bullets, some of us who took shots from people who were coming to seize, to take power. In similar fashion, where a certain group of people thought this republic is theirs and theirs only. These individuals are the ones running around. Maba Molo had the first shot of a gun. Maybe he was 5, 6. He ran into exile. He came back 95 and his behind was in jail because he was a criminal. His behind was in jail, and I think he was placed on parole. He was gone back to Bujumbura because that is a survival site for some of these people. That site now has been transferred into Liberia. And all of these people are behaving like they're so giant. Where was Akarius Gray calling himself general? Calling himself general. Someone who feasts on Kenjus. As we say, Akpeteshi, the guy does not even live in the district he's controlling. He lives on the Robertsville Highway. He lives there. He lives in that area of town. That's not District 8. These are the individuals who are running their mouth around as though they're so strong. They're so strong. I mean, if real war, I mean, they have one or two. I see they have some MPFL former fighters in general behind them, but still, those people are not enough. If the bulk of Liberia begin to come in somberly to say we're going to take back our country, those flimsy people will start running back into exile. You understand? These individuals will go no, they will not have the guts to stand there and discharge a bullet or even take a bullet for that republic. They can never. If a man left the scene of a war and fled, you understand? Such an individual, as long as you have not discharged a bullet in the carriage of war, you can never have that audacity to come back and fight. You ran the first place, the second time you will run again. So when they say soldiers who live in a war, you understand, could come back and fight, those are soldiers. They fought. But you know, when you're overpowered, sometimes, yeah, you allow the moment to take its turn. But not a coward who the first bullet that rammed the air, they were out of Liberia and then cornering people in Bujumbura camps and other areas. And these are the individuals who coming out to come damage the peace we have. We fought for this peace. I remember nights and days we used to languish around Akasumbo, other areas of the international world where we used to go seek peace and tranquility for our country. George Weah was nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. He was the same thing he's doing in Jamaica Resort, having fun. He was having money. This guy knows nothing about hardship. This is the guy who's the president now. The same way he played in the little earnings he had. That's the same way he's playing in our coffers. You see our coffers, the economies, continue to go down. Because that's all this guy knows. He knows nothing else but good time. Yeah. Do you think the Republic of Liberia will ever go up? Not under George Weah. Somebody who earned that kind of money, sat there and played with it, used to have orgies, drink, the same thing he's doing right now. The president is literally drunk on a daily basis. For a country like ours that is struggling. You understand? So, what are we hoping on? But there are things we're hearing. I mean, we hope that This mess should be cleared away from the Republic of Liberia, man, so we can bring a sober regime that will come and take care of that country. We're going down fastly. And those who want to worship him when he goes into exile or when they clear him out, if he wants to stay in Liberia, fine. But this guy cannot continue to handle our republic this way. Definitely, you know what will happen? What will happen between now and a year later from today? It will even be worse. Because this man has not even realized that the dire strait, the nature of the Republic of Liberia, the transgression we're going through right now as a republic, he does not know, because he's able to call somebody, they provide ticket for a first class ticket for people like Crystal, so they can come. They talk about the best gallo to come and have orgies. That's what he knows. That guy has zero seriousness in his head for the Republic of Liberia. Zero. So those who are waiting to say, hey, miracle will happen. Miracle happens when people seek miracle. This guy is not even seeking miracle. As a matter of fact, as far as he's concerned, and the Republic is fine, because he's able to recess the Jamaica resort and have orgies. You have orgies with girls, people coming in. That's the life he understands. On serious, man, it was so difficult for us to sit knowing that this is what we're going to resort to, and people overpower us because of something called democracy and voted this miscreant into power. Look at where we are today. He takes on the podium damning that other Liberians will not have the same privilege he was given through democracy. This is a guy who was crying. I'll look for that tape. When Charles Taylor held Liberians practically hostage. He was in exile, and I knew it. That he felt he could come in, use some popularity, and become president. Yeah, you got it now. You got it. But wait a minute. If you have legs, make sure you get them ready. Hope the day they come for you, you will not be drunk, because you should be sober. You should be sober. The way how now you are there going after people because they speak against you, want to even legislate certain laws that you cost the president. Yeah, today you can legislate laws. Madame Salif was not human, so therefore when she was cussed by you, including you, President Weah, let alone the Malba Molo and the others, when they were cussing that lady, she was not human. So therefore those laws could have been erected. But no, they were not. Because that is the essence of democracy. This other police spokesperson talking about regulating the internet. We go after robust things that we don't even have. You don't even have command to even help the economy to grow. Talking about regulating the internet. Stupidity. Definitely. You want regulate cyber, you think, okay, let's say you block the internet in Liberia. You think Liberians will not find a way to monitor what's going on the internet, international wire? That's what you used to have gotten your information about Molu. No newspaper, you probably, if they have buried it into a newspaper, that will be it, buried. But the moment it appears on social media, you saw it. And this is how President Weah himself gets his news. So go do something with legislate so they can block the internet. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Maybe you won't. The as they said when the Council of Patriot came up with the demonstration, they fought to shut the internet down. I mean, look at where our minds are going. Instead of you coexisting or do the right thing improve the economy so that people can have, the wealth of their life. You're thinking about shutting down internet so that to stifle dissent. This is the very worst thing that happened. The worst thing that happened to the Republic of Liberia was not Samuel Doe, it was not Charles Taylor, it was not anything, but it's George Weah. And believe me, the way how they sitting by, Tilia could have lost her life. Tilia almost. And I tell you what, it was only God that protected her. It was only God. And if you have these kinds of people who think nobody else should come around the governance right now, imagine what will happen when we go to election in 2020 and 2023. Just imagine. That's why our national security agencies need, including the Chief of Army Staff, they need to sit down now and devise plans. You understand? Devise plans. They should have a SWAT team in Liberia. They have, how they call it, ARU. I'm not sure whether I know the nomenclature. But that is a toy. Because the group of Liberians who are doing these things are the innocent ones that did not see the war for what it was. They were kids. An 18-year-old child who probably was given the very first opportunity in this election to vote. I doubt whether those people were even registered to vote. I doubt, because if you just turned 18, it means there was no new registration done according to the Elections Commission. Now, these are the individuals who are perpetrating some of the, even a man who is 21. None of these people have recollection. They probably were not even born when the bulk of our war occurred. And some of us who were there feeding on cocodolo, almond, leaves, all kinds of stuff were eaten to survive. People drowned in their own feces because of cholera. People died. Good people. People who, those days you could see them, you see the quality of life in them. Those individuals perish. We fought among ourselves. We ran behind each other. God came from the high heavens and helped us. We have peace. All of these rogue elements who were in exile are the ones now trying to run us back to war. Oh yeah, we have to do something to protect our country. These roguish elements who were in exile, probably they belong in exile. I think that's why we should begin to look forward to now. If they don't behave soberly, definitely people should begin to come together now. And I know they've moved by force. They move a sitting justice. And I know Cabinet Janet, and they call him ex-warlord. Yeah. Transgression, they took advantage over that man, took him out of power to force him out. Because these people don't know what it is when war kicks in our country, how it can be like. You're already struggling. Cup of rice is almost $150 Liberian. Any small mayhem that happens in our country right now, people perish because there is no food, there is no real drinking water, no electricity. So I feel for the situation, and people should stop. That's why the national security agencies need to come together, ignore the president if he's not going to listen to them, devise a plan that when they're having elections, people should be able to stay free and clear of violence. You understand? What they can even be the wife of the president. If she throws rock, she must be arrested. Because you know what? If you don't do that now, when we get to 2020 and 2023, we'll have no country. One single small district election, people almost burned down the entire district. That's because no law. No law, and then the police spokesperson sitting down there acting like they got everything under control. Nothing is under control. Nothing. Nothing. It's so unfortunate that we'll have a country where people will be sitting by, they have the authority, but they cannot move because they're afraid of losing their job. Sometimes you have to act in the interest of your conscience. Then the power, the authority that exists out here would do nothing to you. Oh, I could not have been Patrick Sudu. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. I would do things some wacky ways. I will arrest Molu. I will order that even Akarios Gray be arrested. You understand? And they will in turn provide some of these people who caused this mayhem. Yes, if they were in the presence, in a place where crime was committed, you don't need any probable cause anymore. Person of interest, you hear sometimes people say, I was at the wrong spot at the wrong time. George Weah can relate. When they went to arrest the gentleman in D.C., he was there. He too was arrested. That's how it works. Police, the flimsy police officer will have their spokesperson, doesn't even know the law. Talking about person of interest. When was that term introduced in the Liberian, lexicon? Person of interest. A person of interest is a suspect. But like they say, they don't want the press sometimes to meddle. So they'll say person of interest. It's one and the same. It's a euphemism. And these idiots are sitting down, acting like they know everything. Person of interest. If Mulba Molu and Akarios Gray were at the place where a crime was committed, they are suspect. They are material witness. Put the cuff on their behind and bring them to drag them and see whether they will not start respecting. If those boys had seen you arresting Mulba Molu, who always makes inflammatory statement on the international wire, you arrest that man and cuff him and shove him behind a van. You understand? And Akarios Gray the same. Arrest those people. Put cuff on them. Whisk them away. And see whether their followers will not begin to tame down a little bit. Nobody's above the law. I used to love Joe Tate. You understand? That was one guy I think Charles Tiller respected. Tyrants can have people to respect. Trust me. Tyrant can have people to respect. Order for Mulba Molu to be arrested. It's too much. Mulba Molu has been making inflammatory statements from the time he was in opposition. And the first police chief, I don't know what's so much about Mulba Molu, people can't order his arrest. Oh yeah, they're lucky. Some of us no longer insecure they got me. I would have just walked and said, arrest this man. Cuff him. Let's see what Mulba Molu will do. Arrest Gray. Let's see what he will do. There was a time when the defense minister said those who are not part of the military should not be wearing military regalia. I mean, it's First Amendment right. People can wear what they want to wear. But in a country like Liberia, the Minister of Defense was saying, do not wear these things. Akarios Gray define him. You understand? Today, the same man was saying, in a press statement he had, who gave Tilia Ure the authority to ride a bulletproof car. That is against the law, according to what he said. We have a country where insignificant people are taking the country to be like toy. We just like fun. We don't. It's like we don't have a country anymore. We need to move so hard to get these elements, this, you know, these elements out of power, so we can have a serious country. You understand? We can have a serious country. We don't have a serious country now. It's just like fun. Group of people just together when they're ready to. Everywhere the president goes, they're there. He moves to Jamaica Resort to go and have fun, continue with their orgy. All of them go there. We don't have a country. Until we can get these people out, we don't have a country. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. We don't have a country, sincerely. And we have to be able to stand up to these elements and begin to look in their eyes. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry that some of us no longer in the security corps. I could not have been the chief of army staff. Oh, I would have been speaking on a daily basis. Matter of fact, I would have requested Patrick Sudu to come to a meeting. Yeah, yes, I would have. It doesn't take anything. In our national security apparatus, the military is above the police. That's a law. Look. Good night.